Ladies and gentlemen, we might be hotting up to a hotter end to the transfer window than we thought was possible. Could we sign a midfielder? Well, maybe we are. And maybe Dan James is funding it. Dan James is leaving Manchester United. He's going to Leeds. Remember, Leeds were the club that were on the verge of signing Dan James before Man United swooped in and signed him in the first place from Swansea. But it has been confirmed tonight by Fabrizio Romano, by Mike McGrath, by Adam Crafton, by Phil Hay from The Athletic that Leeds are close to agreeing. And get this, a 30 million deal for Dan James to go to Leeds. Let me know what your reaction is to that in the comments. As always, I'll run through, I'll explain the full story as I always do. If you enjoy it, drop a like on the video. Let's talk Dan James. Mark McGrath came here, what is it, 40 minutes ago, said that Leeds are close to agreeing to 30 million. And basically, is that Hezbollah? I think is his name. That's exactly what my face was like. Huh? What, 30 million? That was quickly followed up by the man himself. That would be Fabrizio Romano saying that Dan James is set to join Leeds from Manchester United. Deal confirmed, and here we go soon. Final stages, it's going to be completed. James will join Leeds as exclusively reported this morning. 30 million. That really is a lot. Oh, look, we've got Lowry, how you doing? Big up to you. Join as a member. Try and give. Let me know in the comments where you're watching this from, and I'll give you a shout out. Anyway, building on from Fabrizio Romano, we then go into a bit more detail by looking at the report from Adam Crafton and from Phil Hay, who are Manchester United and Leeds correspondents with The Athletic. This is what they said. Leeds United are very close to a permanent deal for Man United winger for an initial 25 million plus add-ons. So 25 million up front. That's absolutely outstanding from Manchester United. Let's read it a bit more detail. The Athletic reported on Sunday that his current club are willing to listen to others, and that obviously came after Ronaldo came in. So Man United are shifting Dan James out for 30 million. What's your reaction to that in the comments? Your immediate reaction? You know, it's very easy to get very harsh with Dan James. I've been harsh with Dan James. We've all been harsh with Dan James. Dan James is a player, I can't really fault their work ethic, their work rate in the game. And that's something you can definitely slate a lot of Manchester United players. In the last few years, you could hit them with that stick. You can't hit Dan James with that. He was always committed. He just wasn't good enough, I think would be a fair way to describe him. I always considered him more like a Marouane Fellaini type player. Somebody who, if you used him in the right way, he was a decent asset. But 30 million is really absolutely outstanding. I'm seeing in the comments here, let's hope you're not lying to me now. I think that Fabrizio may well have been a little bit busy tweeting in the last couple of seconds. Let's have a little check here. As I said, I did title it Here We Go because the Here We Go is happening. Let's have a quick peep. Fabrizio Romano to Leeds. Here we go. 6 minutes. Boom, there you go. That's why you're joining up People's TV. Look at that. Bang on the money. On the news. Come on, people. Drop a like on the video for that. What more could you want? Here we go. Dan James to Leeds from Manchester United. Done deal confirmed. And here we go. The agreement has been completed for 28 million euros with add-ons. Personal terms agreed a few minutes ago. Medical tomorrow morning. Official announcement soon. The Here We Go is in. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed it. I'm pretty sure Dan James might be a little bit happier than he is in that photo there. Dan James is off to Leeds. And I've got to say, this is a move. This is a deal which I think will really, really suit Dan James. It's clear that he wasn't going to have at least a short-term future or any sort of future at Manchester United now. But 28 million, mate, United, I've got to give a round of applause to that. That is outstanding business. And Manchester United, let's remember, right? Let's really remember that we're crap at selling players for the right price. We are historically crap at selling players for the right price. You see Chelsea constantly selling players and getting excellent money for him. We're getting 28 million for Dan James. Hell yeah, go out and sign Camavinga right goddamn now, Manchester United. Get Neves, get Niguez, get somebody. Don't you dare use that 28 million to pay for Ronaldo, you cheapskates. Don't you dare do that. But for Dan James, as I said, you let me know what positives would you give? Because, you know, I don't think it will be fair to just slate him as a shit player, slate him and say, look, gone, boom, so glad to see the back of him. Because we've had so many people at this club, so many players at this club in the last few years who deserve that sort of treatment. I don't think Dan James does. Remember when he joined Manchester United and his dad passed away in the summer just before he moved, and he didn't get to see his son play at Old Trafford. And when he scored on his debut against Chelsea, I think it was, McTominay went over and celebrated him, and it was a poignant moment. You saw how much the release of energy from Dan James is a memory that he will always have, and a memory I'll always have. I'll thank him for that. He had his moments. He's scored 4 goals in his first 4 games. It was a blistering start. He just wasn't able to maintain that sort of pace, and very few can. Very few can. I liked him. I didn't really like him as a footballer. I liked him as an individual. As a footballer, I thought he was a little bit too limited for what Manchester United needed. I thought his final product wasn't good enough. He got himself into excellent positions, and that's something that's clearly a natural part of his game. But his actual conversion rate from turning those positions into actual chances, it just was not good enough. And this is the start of a new look Manchester United. You know, the levels have gone up, man. We've signed Jadon Sancho. He's our right winger now. We've just re-signed, well, the official announcement's not come out yet, but we've re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo. We've got Rafael Varane. The levels have gone up from where we were when we signed Dan James. Propaganda, you are saying Dan James was good for stretching defenses with his pace. It's just a shame his end product wasn't good enough for United. He worked hard for the team too. I completely agree with you that. Look, James, look, Mark here. James was crap, and I'm glad he's gone. And there's going to be people that very much it depends on how nice you want to be. You can be an arsehole and say, thank fuck Dan James is gone. Don't want to see him ever play for Manchester United again. Simple. But watch him thrive at Leeds. Remember that Leeds, they not only tried to sign Dan James before we signed him, they've been chasing him all summer long. They've been going after Dan James quite aggressively. And now that Cristiano Ronaldo's come in, they've managed to get him. So fair play. Leeds have got their man. They've chased him. Bielsa wants him in his system. And I think it's a system. We know what Leeds' system is. And I think it will suit Dan James. He just needs to improve on his final product. If he can find that, and he's definitely got a manager now who trusts in him. He's got a manager now who has signed him for a specific reason and has been chasing him all summer long. I think that's going to do a lot for his confidence, because I don't think you can really fault his work rate. That never really dipped. It was just his confidence wasn't quite there. His final product certainly was not there. And I think he'll be an excellent signing for Leeds. And for Manchester United, for us fans here sitting here now, I'm staggered. 28 million. Mate, United need to go out right now. Go. Get on the phone to Ren. Camavinga. 28 million is pretty much, if we went in with a 28 million euro bid for Camavinga tonight, I'll tell you what, you would make Ren think. You would force a conversation in the Ren boardroom. It might not be the 40 million that they want, but they're going to lose him for free in the summer now. And this is what Manchester United were playing at. I said this all along, and I might be wrong. Man United may not go out and sign a midfielder tomorrow. This might just be 28 million that goes back into the Glazers' coffers and pays for some of Cristiano Ronaldo's wages. That could happen. It could absolutely happen. But we were always told that more signings were impossible without sales. And then Ronaldo happened, so we knew that was a lie. But Dan James, he's leaving the club. You let me know what you think. Keep firing in your comments about Dan James. The positive memories that you'll have of him when he's leaving. What do you think? How good do you think he'll be at Leeds? Let me go here. Chuck Wama on YouTube is saying James was a committed and passionate player. No questioning his work rate. He's just not at Manchester United's level. His end product will always let him down. He is 21 and he'll improve under Bielsa. I wish him all the best. Jones needs to be shifted on. I can't disagree with that. But Phil Jones is not a player like Dan James. He hasn't played football. Therefore, we're going to really struggle. We're definitely still going to struggle to sell Phil Jones. Loan James for Leeds. No, Walter, it's not a loan move. It is a 28 million permanent deal. The medical will happen tomorrow morning, and the official announcement will be made soon. So tonight, we're probably likely to see an announcement from either Leeds or from Manchester United, or from both, confirming the move for Dan James. So his fleeting appearance would be that game against Wolves at the weekend, where, let's be honest, his final product was just not there. That's where Jadon Sancho should be playing. We shouldn't have been seeing Dan James starting there against Wolves. That's down to Solskjaer. That's not really down to him. Ben Kylo here. James is the kind of player Fergie would have signed and got the best out of. Now, that's a decent comment. I think he's definitely the sort of player who would have improved massively under the sort of the arm around the shoulder from Fergie. That definitely would have got the best out of Dan James. But Lucas, you're saying it right there. Right, let's go. Let's go, Camavinga. Hell, man, why not? Look, right, United have been telling us, well, I mean, United haven't actually been directly telling us, but what we've been told as fans is that we need to sell players. We need to sell to be able to bring in that defensive midfielder that's going to make all the difference. So let's go. If we had the money this summer to go out and sign Varane and go out and sign Sancho, and we went out and signed Ronaldo, we've now just got 30 million, the best part of 30 million euros for Dan James. I don't think Jesse Lingard's going anywhere. What I'm seeing, all the reports are basically saying that there's been interest in Jesse Lingard, but nothing has ever gone to the concrete stage, which has got Manchester United interested enough that they're going to let Jesse Lingard go. So I think Jesse Lingard's going to be staying, and probably even more so now that Dan James is leaving. I think if Dan James wasn't going, there'll be far more chance for tomorrow we could see Lingard. Look, meet Nando, you're saying Lingard plus cash for Rice. Look, we could try it, we could go in for it, but there's absolutely no chance that's going to happen, all right? No chance that's happening. And a big important thing to think about here when it comes to Dan James, this is exciting. So Dan James, he's going to be leaving. That means he leaves the number 21 shirt. Now, if you know, there's a certain player that wears 21 with his country, and that will be Edinson Cavani. And there's a certain shirt number that Edinson Cavani is wearing right now at Manchester United, and that'll be the number 7. So what I expect to happen now, I expect us to see Dan James go to Leeds on a permanent deal. The 21 shirt becomes available. Edinson Cavani will take that 21 shirt. He'll vacate the number 7 shirt, and your boy CR7 will be back in town. I think that will happen. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. I think there's people were saying that there's something to do with the fact that Cavani has already registered his number. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. We'll get around that. It's just a little dispensation. Well, it's not a problem. CR7, baby. But Dan James, man. Dan James. Let's see if we can read into this a little bit more. This is what the Athletic is saying. Leeds previously came within a whisker of signing James from Swansea back before we went in there. James himself had been determined to fight for his place at Old Trafford, and he has started 2 of United's last 3 games. However, he struggled and was replaced by Martial. Leeds have been restrained in their summer spending, blah, blah, blah. And it was understood funds are available to secure a long-term target in James. And this is a big thing that I keep saying there. And that is why I'm happy for James. James is getting bought by a manager and a club that have been wanting him for so long. It's not as if Leeds are all of a sudden out of nowhere coming in for Dan James, and they're just trying to take advantage of the fact that we've got Cristiano Ronaldo, and then someone like Dan James become available. It's not the case. They've wanted him all summer. They've wanted Dan James, and they've come and they've got their target. But what United have got to do now, man, it's go out and sign that midfielder. Go out and sign that midfielder. I personally think the most likely is definitely, as what I said in the stream earlier, the most likely is going to be either Camavinga or Niguez on loan. With Niguez, it looks like Atletico Madrid are trying to push for a permanent deal. That's kind of what's forcing Chelsea away from that situation. And maybe Manchester United can go in. But if the only way we're going to get Niguez for me is probably on a loan. I don't think we're going to sign Niguez. I think he'd be a little bit too expensive. There are thousands of you watching right now, by the way. So make sure you please drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. It really does help. It's free. And if you want to become a member, get involved in the channel, join. It's not free, but it's like the price of a pint. And all the money that goes in goes back into the channel. And it's important because it helps the channel go forward. Going to be getting some lights in here to make it a better setup. Got a new studio coming soon. It's great. Sandy Roy, what about Joshua Kimmich? I'm pretty sure that he's just signed a new deal with Bayern Munich, isn't he? There's no way we're going to get anybody from Bayern Munich unless Bayern Munich want to sell. Bayern Munich are a club that does not let go of a player unless they don't want him anymore. And if they don't want him anymore, it's probably because he's a little bit past it. But Dan James, I'm very, very happy for Dan James. I think it's a great move for him. I think it's a great move for United. And I'll tell you what, it's fantastic that we're going to get 28 million for him. That really is. And look at that. It's going to be a club record deal for Leeds United. 30 million overall. Thereabouts. That is outstanding. That is outstanding. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I want to read this bit. Let me get that up. Let me get that bit up. See if we can pull this up here. Yeah, cool. This would be nice. This is what I was talking about Dan James. I think it's harsh to just absolutely slate him. This is him after his debut, and he was talking about his family. We go full screen on that one. Move that out of the way.
Well, they must be so proud. I guess you must have had family, friends here. I mean, them watching as well. They must be so proud for you.
Yeah, they definitely are. They were there today. I didn't know whereabouts they were trying to find them, but it's hard to find them in front of this many fans. But for them, for me, do you know what I mean? It's, I couldn't write it, as I said. To be here in the first place.
Happy for him, man.
It's an honour for me, and to come on today and show people why I'm here. It's great.
I'm really genuinely happy for Dan James, man. Look, Martin, you're saying thank you, Dan James. He gave 110% every game. I think he's going to leave with a lot of well wishes. He just wasn't good enough for Manchester United, but it doesn't mean that he wasn't a dick in any way, shape, or form. He always presented himself professionally. He always worked hard. He did a lot of the things that as fans, when you don't see them, those players really piss you off. But when you see someone like Dan James, who just gave everything, it's just that his everything just wasn't good enough for the level of Manchester United. That's not his fault. That's really not his fault. Sandy saying, thank you, Dan James. Gave it all every time he played. Respect. Surab, what are you saying? United made some good business on James. It's almost double what we paid. You're right. It's time we spend wisely and get our target. 21 is coming. Hey, look, 21 can come if we get that central midfield signing. I've got utter confidence that this Manchester United team, if we get a central midfielder added into it, all I know is you don't get knocked out before the quarterfinals in the Champions League when you've got Cristiano Ronaldo in your team and Rafael Varane. I'm backing us to go further in the Champions League than I expected to, simply because he is here. But 28 million for Dan James is sensational business. But Manchester United, as a football club, have now got, 28 hours to show to me that we've changed. That the Glazers signing Ronaldo wasn't simply a PR media move first and foremost. An opportunity to improve the value of the brand. An opportunity to make them more money. They've got 28 hours to show me, by reinvesting that money from Dan James in a central midfielder, that Ronaldo's arrival back at Manchester United was part of a bigger, ambitious plan to win the Premier League. Because I said it before, I'll say it again, I'll repeat it. I don't think this Man United team with this current midfield can win the Premier League. With a midfielder, with that 30 million that we've just made from Dan James, you can do everything. It is as simple as that. Who will be the ideal CDM, says Nadir. Ndidi is out of the question, to be honest. I don't think it will be a proper DM, my friend. It will be a central midfielder. We'll stick with a double pivot. And it'll be Scott McTominay playing alongside somebody. I think that is what would happen. I don't know who that would be, whether that would be Saul Niguez. Be happy with it. That would be Camavinga. I haven't seen enough of him, but there seems to be a lot of hype around him. So I would trust the scouts more than me, not knowing much. You've got Dave watching from sunny Spain most days. Well, sod you for being in sunny Spain. I'm sorry for saying sod you, and thanks for watching. I mean, it's not sunny here. I miss sun. David, you're saying not happy. James is leaving when Martial is lazy. Now, this is exactly what I'm saying there. This is exactly why there are a lot of characteristics about Dan James's game and his style of play and his commitment to the cause that you just can't fault. Yeah, he wasn't good enough. But simple as that. What is this? Everton are hijacking Leeds United's move for Dan James. It says Footy Insider 247. Well, let's see what goes on there. I'd be really, really surprised if he goes anywhere apart from Leeds, especially after Fabrizio's just said it there. Look, see reports coming out now that he's no chance that gets hijacked. Leeds have been after Dan James for far too long, unless they come over the top with a ridiculously big bid, which I wouldn't really expect from Everton to do that. I don't think he's going anywhere but Leeds. Sumya, how are you doing, Sumya? Sam, do you think this money goes to get a new midfielder or to cover the Ronaldo fees? I'm staying optimistic. And I'm saying that this money is going to go towards a midfielder. It's going to go towards getting us the title this year, sorry. I mean, I might well be proven wrong. I might well just be here doing a video in 2 days, getting angry at the fact that we haven't signed a central midfielder. And I tell you what, I will 100% be doing a video getting angry as fuck if we don't sign a central midfielder, because we have the money. We had the money. We got Ronaldo. If we really chose Ronaldo over the midfield, then our priorities are not about winning the league. Simple as that. Scott McTominay must pair with DVB, says Craig Peterson, and then United can go get Camavinga. Hey, look, Camavinga would clearly be a good signing. And for me, as I keep repeating, it's the one that makes most. Neves, even if you think Neves would be an ideal option like me, I think it's a little bit too much, and it's too big a transfer, I would say, to happen in the next 28 hours. I don't think, because United haven't really pushed for him enough. If we were like way advanced in it with Neves, I think we could do it, but I don't think it will. I think it's a little bit too little too late for Neves. And Ndidi, no chance. Niguez, that could happen. And if Atletico aren't going to stay firm over the fact that's got to be a permanent deal and they allow it to be involved in a loan, then I think United could go for him. But we've just made 28 million from Dan James. That's absolutely outstanding. Outstanding business from Manchester United. I can't get my head around that. I'm used to watching Manchester United sell players for pittance, whilst other clubs sell players for like 30, 40 million. You think, how the hell did they get 30, 40 million for him? Whereas we've just got 28 million for Dan James, a record signing for Leeds. Record signing. Hell, I'll take that. Look, over the years, they gave us Rio Ferdinand. They gave us Eric Cantona. You can have Dan James. Seems fair. Seems fair. Seems fair. You let me know in the comments below what your reaction is throughout this entire video. As always, make sure you drop a like on the video. And if you are new to United People's TV, come on, get involved. Hit that subscribe button. Get involved in the family. Sam, it's just because he wasn't on big wages, says Pierre. What you mean, the price? I'm not really sure how that really affects the price. Why are they paying so much, says Omar. I mean, Dan James has always been, as I said, a long-term target for Bielsa, for Leeds. A couple of years they've been after him. And now he's finally got the man. It's someone that they were willing to pay the money for because Bielsa knows exactly where he's going to fit in that system. Long-term target. It's paid off. Bielsa will be extremely happy that he has signed Dan James. Warren, Dan James is a far better footballer than I am. Out of curiosity, was the Pereira loan to Flamengo an obligation to buy or option to buy? I'm not sure, but I believe the length of the loan might take it to the point where his contract may expire. So I'm not actually sure whether we're going to get a fee for Pereira or whether we've just shipped him off and allowed him to play football elsewhere. I think it might just be a little bit of that. Vincent, you're saying great news, James is gone. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it is great news that James has gone. It marks another shift towards where we want this Manchester United team to be. Dan James's product, it just wasn't good enough, man. It didn't progress. From when Dan James arrived in 2019 to where Dan James is now, his final product didn't improve enough. Simple. His positions... Ooh, bit my tongue. Hate when you do that. Hate when you do that. Anyway. His positions improved. He got himself into the right areas. His work rate off the ball, very good. There's a lot of things that he did improve. But his final product did not improve enough. And therefore, selling him was the right decision now that we've got Cristiano Ronaldo in here. John Ewan saying, don't forget Leeds gave us Alan Smith. Big up Alan Smith as well. And sod John Arisa for snapping his leg. I remember that. David, you're saying good for James. And we wish him long life and prosperity. Now, get us top 4. I don't want top 4. I want more than that. Saul incoming? I hope so. Oh, Ross Walker, you're feeling in a little chipper mood there. I'm boring. Sorry, guys. I'll end the stream now. I apologize for being boring. Maybe I should just kill the channel. I'll just end it all now. Sorry, guys. UTD Spirit saying problem. What did you say there? Too many comments coming in. Problem he had no skill. Problem was he had no skill. Jeez, actually no. That problem he had was no skills to take one on one. Oh my God, that comment's all over the shop. Jesus Christ. That Dan James was quite limited as a footballer. He really was in terms of what Manchester United needed. And it's unfortunate. Had he progressed, as a comment said earlier, I think had he played under Sir Alex Ferguson, I think you might have seen Dan James become a far better footballer than when he arrived. But unfortunately for him, it just Hasn't been. Oh, look at that, Carly. Hey, Sam, been a top fan for a while, and on top of that, supporter. Could you see my badge or not? Now say a shout out to me before I get mad. Here's your shout out, mate. I'm not missing you. But look, mate, let's get excited, right? Let's get excited. We've got 28 million for Dan James. We've got 28 hours until the transfer window closes. Inside that 28 hours, on top of all of this, we're going to get a Cristiano Ronaldo announcement. That's going to blow my goddamn mind. I can't wait to do that live video with you there. We're definitely having cans with that one. Woohoo! And I've also got a separate announcement video. Easy peasy. It's going to be good. Preparation, working hard. I mean, it's supposed to be bank holiday, but when you're signing Ronaldo the next day, you got to work. Simple as that. But we've got 28 million. We've got 28 hours. That's quite a nice little thing. Sign a goddamn midfielder. Go and sign one. Please. Don't make me angry. What's the point, Manchester United, man? What is the point? I keep saying this, repeating it. What's the point in signing Varane, Sancho, and Ronaldo when you don't have a goddamn midfield? You can't win things over an extended period. You can do it in cup games, 90-minute matches, doesn't matter. But over a 38-game season, you're going to get exposed. And over a 12-match campaign in the Champions League, I think we'll get exposed as well. Oh, no, Divya. Next person who says this, I'm not going to ban you. But seriously, people stop mentioning this concept of Lindelof as CDM. Seriously, it blows my mind. Why do people keep doing it? Why do people do it? He's not a CDM. Could you imagine him? He just gets shoved. He'd probably be as weak as Fred. Nah, not at all. Not at all. McTominay is where our hopes and ambitions are going in terms of a central defensive midfielder. Look, if any of you want to fire in your comments, fire in your questions as well. Send in your super chats and your questions. I can't miss super chats. They come up literally a different color. So because there's so many people watching on Facebook and YouTube, there's so many comments that fly through. I'm not ignoring you. It's just I miss a lot of comments. And if you want to catch my attention, send it a super chat. Adrian, you're saying, I thought the window closed at 5 p.m. It's not what I read earlier. Maybe I read it wrong, but I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure that it closes at 11 p.m. I think it closed at 5 p.m. Was it last summer? I think it might have been last summer. But Kaylee saying, anybody know how long McTominay is out for? He's going to be a minimum of 4 weeks, Kaylee. Likeliness is he's definitely going to miss Newcastle. I mean, it's a groin strain, right? It's not groin strain. It's a groin surgery. We don't know how big the surgery was, but I think Scott's already posted on Instagram him walking about. So probably a little bit of keyhole surgery just to fix a minor, maybe like a little minor tear. Let's see what goes on there. I can't imagine he'll be gone for any more than 4 weeks. And I really, really hope not, because that's going to be bad. Craig, you're saying Murto and Fletcher must work their magic for the rest of the hours of the transfer window. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. 28 hours to go. Not 21 seconds, at 28 hours. Remixed by So Solid Crew. And right now, we're not particularly solid in any way, shape, or form in midfield. Fred has shown, unfortunately, in the last 2 games against Southampton and Wolves, that he just cannot be relied on there. Simple as that. Colin, Lingard loan sell to West Ham. Lindelof is DM. Mate, I swear to God, you're going to try and kill me. Going to get Lindelof on the back of my shirt. Wayne, you sent me a super chat for £1 there, mate, but you didn't leave anything there. So I can't read out your comment. Possible departure, says Monitosh. I think from this point onwards, I would be very surprised, ladies and gents, to really see any more movement, really, in terms of Manchester United. I think Dan James leaving is a very good thing for both Manchester United and for Dan James. I don't think we're going to be seeing Jesse Lingard leaving. That has really kind of gone quiet with West Ham. You can't rule it out. But given that he's only got 1 year left on his contract, we can't loan him out with an obligation to buy, because he's only got a year left on his contract. And I don't think that we would get the 20 to 30 million for Lingard that we would want because of that contract. So that's probably why it's kind of gone a bit stagnant with West Ham's interest in Lingard. We want too much for him because of that contract. I can see Lingard staying at United this year. And I tell you what, Lingard would want to do that. He was a little kid when Ronaldo was there. And now Lingard might be playing with his idol. Lingard will not want to leave this United team. You think he'll want to walk away from Rashford, from Sancho, from Ronaldo, from Varane? He wants to be a part of that. I think maybe that will mean you get a better version of Jesse Lingard, someone who's really, really determined to fight for his place. And maybe we might see a little purple patch from Lingard this year, but I do think he'll leave on a free in the summer. Simple as that. Everton trying to hijack the Dan James deal, says Wayne. That's what I was seeing on Twitter earlier, but that kind of surprised me because I'll be very, very surprised if he leaves Manchester United and goes anywhere else. Right, let's have a look. Let's see what we're now saying. Dan James on the verge. This is from Mike McGrath, who broke the story earlier. Dan James on the verge of signing for Leeds in a 30 million deal. The package between the clubs is virtually agreed, according to sources at Old Trafford, and his move will be completed after personal terms and a medical are completed. So you might be seeing some noise around Everton, but I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. Really, really good comment here from Martin. How about Lingard for CDM? Now, that's an upgrade on Lindelof, in my opinion. I reckon Lingard could do a job in CDM. Hell, I think I could do a job in CDM. Actually, I couldn't. That's an absolutely exhausting position. Exhausting positions playing football. You've got to be so disciplined and so determined. But Elon, you're saying, to be honest, 30 to 35 million is good money. Can we buy a defensive midfielder? Call Sir Alex. He will do that. Hey, Alex, need a defensive midfielder. Who can be sane? Darren Fletcher, maybe. Well, I mean, I probably would take Darren Fletcher back right now. I'll take anybody back, man. I said to you, Manchester United going into transfer deadline day like you're hungry going into McDonald's or hungry going into a supermarket. You just end up buying everything because you're like, yeah, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. We're going into the last day, and basically every central midfielder in world football, we're like, yeah, him, yeah, he looks good. So it's kind of hard to decipher and determine which would be the actual good signing and the right signing for Manchester United. Still stand by the fact that Neves would probably be the best. Don't think it's going to happen. And Didi, I don't think we're going after a pure defensive mid. It looks like we want to stick with the 4-2-3-1. It looks like he doesn't want to switch to that 4-3-3, which we thought he would. And that's why we were talking about the world-class holding mid, because we thought we were switching to a 4-3-3. Doesn't look like that is the case. So I think it's going to be a ball-playing centre mid. That's why Niguez makes sense. That's why Neves makes sense. Both of them are exactly that type of player. But no movement yet. It does not mean that something won't happen. So literally strap yourselves in, because the next 24 hours, 28, whatever it is, the next day or so, it's going to be full tilt. There's going to be some real twists, some real turns. Maybe I'll do a transfer deadline show like the last few hours. Drop a like on this video if you want me to do that. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But I'll be here all day tomorrow anyway. I'll be going live throughout the entire day. James Garner says, what's his name there? James Garner, Sam, don't ignore James Garner. He can play CDM. He can play CDM on loan at Nottingham Forest, which is where he is. So I don't think that James Garner will be playing there anytime soon. Chris, how you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. I'm happy we sold James. The only thing he can do is run fast. He should have been a runner because he can't play football. I think that's a little bit unfair because, you know, if you saw Dan James for Wales, for example, during Euros, nobody created more chances than Dan James did in the group stages, created 8 clear-cut chances. That's when you play him on the left. I always found that weird. He's a natural left winger, and Manchester United always played him on the right. And then you get Wolves, where you got Dan James, who's a natural left winger, being played on the right, and Jadon Sancho, who's a natural right winger, playing on the left. Weird. Akil saying, we've been crying for a CDM, mate. I've been crying for a CDM for... I was not going to say I'm an early adopter, but I've always stood by and maintained for the last 2 years that that's the most important signing that we've just overlooked. I find it Manchester United are not a dumb football club. Our coaches are not dumb. You can disagree with some decisions that they make, but they can't just look at that team and go, that midfield's good enough. Happy with it. Yeah, nice. There's no way that they look at it and see that. So I don't really understand why we haven't really gone after one. You could say it's about money, but then we went and signed Ronaldo. So it wasn't about money. We always had the money. We just decided not to spend it on a central midfielder. Not yet anyway. We can't rule it out. We can't rule it out happening tomorrow. Fingers crossed. You know, do the old prayers, bit of that. Yes, please. Sign that central midfielder, and my word, this season is going to be exciting as hell. It still will be. But it's going to be with a lot of sprinkling of frustration, I would like to describe it as. That's what it will be watching Manchester United this season. Probably winning games 4-2, 3-1. You know, as long as you win, I don't really care. But we need that bloody centre mid, and we've just got 28 million. Well, not official yet, but it will be. We've got 28 million for Dan James. Mate, come on, United. Pull your finger out and do it. If you're just joining here, full story for you is that Manchester United have agreed a deal with Leeds for Dan James. There's some confusion as to whether Everton are getting involved. I've ruled that out, man. There's no way. I don't think that he's going Everton. Leeds have been after Dan James since before we signed him, and now they're finally getting their man. Dan James to Leeds from United. Here we go. Done deal. Here we go. The agreement has been completed for 28 million euros. Seriously insane. With add-ons, personal terms agreed a few minutes ago. Medical tomorrow morning, and the official announcement will happen soon. And like Chris says here, hopefully we get Camavinga to complete the window, because we're sitting here right now. We're sitting pretty with a nice 7 out of 10. Nice 7 out of 10 window. Nah, 6 out of 10. Sod that. It's a 6 out of 10 window, but it'll go straight 10 out of 10 if we get centre mid. If we get the right centre mid, this window turns into an absolute boy. Troy Deeney, Watford's number 9, by captain. What's happened? I don't know. I don't know what's happened there. But Camavinga, I obviously haven't watched Ren. I don't watch Ren. Sorry, Ren. Clearly, our scouts have seen enough, and it's not just an opportunity. Maybe it's going to be another player like Donny van der Beek, who I'm still convinced was signed by the club rather than Solskjaer. Nothing else has shown me otherwise. Maybe Camavinga would fall into that type of signing, but labeled the new Popper. I don't like it when players get just called new X. But Neves, Camavinga, Niguez, and Didi, any of them, right? Bissouma. I'm not fussy, United. I'm really not fussy at this point. I'm just hungry. Just give me some food. Give me essential midfield food. That's all I want. You've got 24 hours to do it. You've just got 28 million for Dan James. Show me right now in the next day that the ambition of our football club has changed. The ambition of our football club now is not just that top 4 cycle, that we actually think and we're aiming for the Premier League title. Because you don't bring Ronaldo back and then expect him to settle for a top 4. He's going to expect it. If you don't want an unhappy Ronaldo, you chase the 2 big titles, the Premier League and the Champions League. That's what Cristiano Ronaldo will want to win this year. Let's see what happens. 28 million comes in. I'll be here all of tonight. I'll be here all of tomorrow, covering every single bit of transfer deadline day. So please, would you subscribe to United People's TV if you're new here? I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining in. Loads and loads of comments coming in. Dan James, though. Mate, Dan James. 28 million. Never in a million years would I have guessed that. You're still seeing rumours coming out about Everton coming over the top, but I don't think so. Nah. I mean, get over. Nah. There's absolutely no chance that Everton are putting a £40 million bid for Dan James. No. No. No chance in hell. No. Refuse to believe it. Matt Gore, how you doing, Matt? I saw that Camavinga may hold it out for the season as he wants a PSG move. Yeah, Matt, you're absolutely spot on there. What we've always seen in the last maybe like 3-4 weeks, ever since we've been linked with Camavinga, is that he would actually prefer a move to Real Madrid or Barcelona. Therefore, he wants to wait, see his contract out with Rennes, because he knows next summer he's going to have everybody coming after him because he's a free agent. Whereas if he leaves this summer, he'll have to leave for a fee, and therefore it limits the amount of clubs that are going to go after him. Chris, my brother's, look at that. Your brother's a season ticket holder in Rennes. He lives there, and he said he is a machine, and United have to buy him. Well, look, you heard it from here, right? Exclusive on United People's TV from Chris and his brother, who is a Rennes season ticket holder. Camavinga's a machine. We've got to go and sign him. Chris, why didn't you mention that before? You should have mentioned that before, man. But look, I don't think Dan James is going Everton. That really is. There is absolutely no chance he goes Everton. And it doesn't matter whether he goes Everton or whether he goes to Leeds. Dan James is going to be leaving Manchester United this summer for more than I ever would have expected. I wish him the best of luck. Can't knock his work rate. He just wasn't good enough for Manchester United. It is as simple as that. But thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much, everybody, for sending in your super chats. Matt, you joined a new member. Big up to you. Anybody else, if you'd like to join as a member, hit the join button down below. Or if you're watching on Facebook, there's a little link in the description of this video. Less than the price of a pint. All goes back into the channel. I'll be here later on today if Man United announce Ronaldo tonight. If not, I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll be here all day tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do yet for the deadline day streams, but I'll definitely be here. Make sure you're here as well. Hopefully, we can be here this time tomorrow night, sitting here with a new central midfielder, because if we do that, 21 is coming home. Get your suits measured, because the treble's happening in May. Anyway, Dan James, big up to you. Good luck, whether it's Everton or Leeds, or that's definitely gonna be Leeds. Take it easy, everyone.